All right, I think it's 5 minutes 5 minutes past, and I think we can get started. Uh, Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Hope you are doing well. Uh, so today we'll be talking about the service operations workspace offering and mainly focusing on the on-call scheduling, major incident management, and the Microsoft Teams integration. I am Nikhil Mehta. I have been working at ServiceNow for about 2 3 years now. I've been working on various products like on-call scheduling, collaboration, which includes the Teams integration, mobile agent, and the ServiceNow admin center. Uh, and would be happy to help on any of the questions that you have. We'll majorly be focusing on on-call and major incident. Sonia is my co-host for the meeting, who has played a pivotal role in the service operations workspace migration. Sonia, over to you for the introduction.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar where we're excited to go over on-call scheduling and major incident management with you within Service Operations Workspace. I'm a product manager with the Service Operations Workspace team focusing on major incident management and look forward to interacting with all of you. Uh, if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and pop them in the Q&A, and we'll try to answer as many questions as possible.
Thanks, Sonia. Uh, couple of housekeeping stuff, like Sonia mentioned, please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A. We will have our experts answer your question in the Q&A section itself, or maybe over the call, depending on the nature of the question. And obviously, this is going to be a recorded session which will be shared over the community. Also, a safe harbor notice. There might be a few forward-looking statements. Obviously, like the typical, associated risk. I'm sure you would be aware that there might be changes in the timelines that might get discussed. All right. So, let's go get on to the focus area for today, which is the agenda. We'll be focusing mainly on the demos of on-call and major incident. But before we go there, there is a little bit of vision and overview of service operations workspace. What How we decided on defining the overall journey of service operations workspace, and what is the path forward. We wanted to cover a little bit of it. For us to curate this offering better, the webinar to be more fruitful for everyone, we wanted to conduct a quick poll and understand where you are in this journey of your adoption of service operations workspace. I'll be launching a poll, and I request everyone to please participate, so that would help us understand where we are. So I've just launched the poll. Please uh, vote on the same. So we have already about 55% voting done. Just give one more minute. We are almost at 75%. All right, I'll end the poll now. what I see is, most of you have been in 55% of you have been looking to look maturity of the use of service operations workspace, and I think this webinar should come in very handy in that aspect of understanding the critical aspects of on-call and major incident. And I'm happy to see there are a couple of customers who are planning to deploy this service operations workspace within 6 months to 1 year time frame. So feel free to reach out to us in case of anything. We can, discuss in terms of any challenges that you're facing. So yeah, okay. Talking a little bit about what, talking a little bit about the vision for IT service management.
Hey, Nikhil,
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt, Nikhil, but there are a few requests in the chat. Can you go into presentation mode
yeah, sure.
for the slide deck? Yeah, thank you.
All right. Yeah, all right. So, talking about the IT service management vision, the idea was always to, so we had this UI 16 or that classic view for our IT agents. When we started redesigning or reframing the whole experience, the idea was to bring all the data and the teams of services and operations together and have them operate from a single platform, which was the service operations workspace. And today, considering that we have a significant amount of progress on that, I would say that we have been able to deliver a good part of it. And the most important thing that we want to do is we want the shift workers to move up the high value initiative so that they would be able to, remediate issues faster and be able to focus more on providing a stable system across the board. One of the major initiative around this has, in the last 1 or 2 years, have been around generative AI. We have a couple of offerings around Now Assist as well, which includes, your AI based search, your summarization capabilities for post-incident report, AI-assisted root cause analysis, and so on and so forth. So there are quite a few use cases. Feel free to let us know in case you are interested to, know more about it. We can discuss that as well. Yeah. Now, coming to the core of it, the on-call scheduling, which when we were deciding to move from the UI 16 experience to the service operations workspace, couple of challenges that we observed that customers were looking at various tools to provide that seamless experience. They did not have a one-page full experience to view the calendar of how the shifts are working and how do they fill the voids in case of unexpected absences and so on and so forth. So we looked at that whole challenge that is faced by all the customers and then try to define the whole experience holistically. This is a glimpse of how you see the on-call scheduling. I'll come to the actual tool and the live demo in a bit. The on-call scheduling experience mainly focuses on providing a calendar view which will provide you the complete details of who is on call for the given day and who is on rotation and so on and so forth and what are the gaps. And yeah, all these details you will be available. It will be available handy, and it's easy to maintain your schedules and as trigger rules and escalation policies from one single place. We did hear a few challenges where the classic experience did require users to navigate to multiple places. We've tried to address that and would love to hear your feedback as well once we demo it. So I will switch to the demo part of the on-call. Here today we have Beth, who is our persona. So yeah, just a quick thing. Sorry, I forgot about this. We'll have Beth as an on-call manager who will be talking about. So she will be helping. She'll be the persona for whom we will be defining the shifts. So she'll be able to define everything in one single place. We'll see how the trigger rules, escalation policies can be defined, and then we'll see how the on-call scheduling comes into action for major incident management. And there we'll be talking about one of the major incident management, Andrew. who will be able to handle the situation with all stakeholders and the on-call managers and so on and so forth. So that's in terms of my slides, and I'll go over to the service operations workspace. This is the landing page that Beth will view with a dashboard of all the incidents that are going on in the team. uh, she has a one single view of all her teams, what is going on, what are the current shifts that are going on for her team, and so on and so forth. She can just maybe take a glimpse of, say, the service desk team and see all the schedule that is going on. Uh, yeah. So this is like a complete view you can observe where all the primary, secondary, and tertiary members are there defined, and you can also further continue to create shifts. For today's example, I will go to the hardware group where we will be defining a shift for this particular group, and say we can say hardware 24/7. Just can have an all day shift which repeats on a daily basis, and you could have time zones defined as needed. You could say possibly pick uh, Hong Kong, for example, and then you could just create the shift. Yeah. So once you define the shift, the placeholder for the shift is already available, and now it is about defining your members for the shift. You could have multiple rotations where you could have the repetition on a daily or a weekly basis, and you could define on which day the rotation changes. So I'll just take Monday, for example, and we'll start with a new rotation here. The new rotation could have possibly Able Tutor and Abraham Lincoln. You could possibly switch the rotation for between Abraham and Able as required just by simply dragging onto the names and saving it. Once you save it, you will be able to see the whole shift being defined here for Able Tutor, and then here the switch happens with Abraham, and Abraham could come in as the on Monday the shift happens, so Abraham would be starting to shift on conducting shifts on Monday, and we could have an additional layer created. So say maybe a shift change over Sundays, and we could add a few members with say David, Dan, and David Lou, and that's basically your primary and secondary shifts being created here. So I'll just simply save this and publish it. So this schedule is ready to go ahead, and that is how it is. But if you see here, you have multiple levels of responders that you can create. It's possibly even more than I know personally. So that's in terms of defining the shifts. Once I publish it, I can now go on to define the escalation policies. Yeah, now I go back to the team record, and I have one single view of all my schedules for the hardware group, and then I have the escalation trigger policies here. I can look at all the team members as well, but I do not have the privilege of an admin here, so I will not be able to modify all the users. So I'll continue to have to rely on my admin for the same. I'll just quickly create a trigger rule. So trigger could be just a hardware rule with the order defined. It could be just a simple trigger rule which says the priority is greater than 1, greater than 2, sorry, my apologies for that. And that's it. In that case, you could have a workflow being triggered for say on call, acknowledge, assign, and notify, and that's it. So that defines your trigger rule. And one of the biggest powerhouse I feel is basically this configuration that you have for escalation policies. So the escalation policy will allow you to define which shift you want, and I will just make it as default. And then you have multiple steps that you can create. Say one step directly for your primary team, and you could rotate through members, or keep it optional. You could notify all the members or only the agent on call. I would prefer to notify only the member who is on call, rather than reach out to all the members. In our case, we had Abel Tutor and Abraham Lincoln, so I would want to reach out to Abel, who is going to be the member available today. And say, for example, I would also want to alert Elaine for all the specific kind of escalations that are coming in. So Elaine could also be a part of it. You also have the options to reach out to a team or a particular device that you might have, say a particular common device that is being shared across various team members. You could utilize that as well. So that's in terms of defining who do you want to notify. And on top of it, you have the option of adding multiple reminders. So I can say that, okay, just notify these members at say after 2 minutes of creating this incident, and the second reminder comes in after, say, 10 minutes, after the first notification was done. So that basically does create your escalation, which clearly states that one notification is being sent after 2 minutes, and then wait for 10 minutes to the next step. I could add another step here which says that, okay, I will do a secondary escalation, which will be notifying all the secondary members. And here I could again keep, say, a couple of other members as needed, and I can just keep one particular notification. So that what it will do is, like, for the first notification it will be after 2 minutes here, and even after 12 minutes or in total here for the primary, if there is no response, it will escalate to the secondary member. And I could just add another tertiary step, which could notify Beth for all purposes, so that she is aware that in case these kind of escalations are coming in. So that kind of defines your whole escalation path. You could define as many steps as you want, and as you saw, it has good configurability available. You could also define your escalation notifications. How do you want it? So several users do have their preferences defined. You could modify override these preferences in specific cases. You could add notification step, which is like for first notification, maybe just send out an SMS, because that might not be critical. But for the second attempt, you could reach out to the user over phone call. So that's how, so in this particular case, while we had defined it, right? So for primary, there will be two attempts. The first attempt will be over SMS, and the second one will be over phone call. So there have been requests coming in from customers where they don't want to disturb the user and also keep the cost low. So that can be achieved here. The channels that you see here are just email, call, and SMS, but you also do have the availability of MS Teams, Slack, and push notification. It's just not configured on this particular system, but you will be available. You will have those too. So that's in terms of the whole configuration. And yeah, I think that's majorly the on-call scheduling bit. You do have team members who can come in and raise for time off and coverage request as well. In the interest of time, what I will do is I will hand over to Sonia for now to present how the whole major incident management experience works, uh, and we can then talk over Q&A. Thank you, everyone. Any questions before I hand over to Sonia?
There was one question in the chat, Nikhil, from Omar. Will secondary only be notified if primary has not responded?
Yes. So,
Okay, I
yeah,
saw
Shiva
Shivaji
just.
just replied.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Shivaji. Yeah, over to you, Sonia. I think we can continue to chat in Q&A if anybody has any questions. But yeah.
Okay. So we'll move over to major incident management now. Just give me 1 second, please, to pull up my um, section over here. All right. So um, I'm assuming you can see my slide now on the overview of major incident management in SOW. I will show you an end-to-end demo of how this works in Service Operations Workspace. But before we get into that, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of how we support the entire life cycle of major incident in Service Operations Workspace. So right from the time that an incident comes in, um, it can be proposed or promoted as a major incident by using trigger rules, by using recommendations, or obviously an agent, a user can manually propose or promote an incident as a major incident. Um, so that is a streamlined process that's available within Service Operations Workspace. We do provide communication plans that can be pre-configured so that these communication tasks get associated with a major incident as soon as it occurs. And so communications and collaborations are streamlined. And when a major incident occurs, we're not scrambling to necessarily set up our communication channels and collaboration channels at that point. There are various channels and conference call technologies that are supported. And I'll go through some of that through the demo as well. And then, of course, we have the generation of a post-incident report as well. And a large part of that is automated. We also recently just released an AI agent that can generate a post-incident report. And if we have a little bit of time towards the end, I will try to show you a glimpse of that as well. Um, so that's the overall major incident life cycle. Now, in my demo, I will be using some of the personas that Nikhil was talking about earlier, but we'll focus on an ITIL user being able to create an incident. And then when the incident gets proposed as a major incident, the major incident manager, in this case, that will be Andrew, will be able to get a notification through Teams. Again, we'll be relying on some of the on-call capabilities that Nikhil demoed earlier. Andrew will get a Teams notification saying a new major incident has been proposed. Do you want to accept this? Andrew accepts it, and then from then on manages the entire major incident as a major incident manager. So we'll go through some of that as well. With that, I will jump into my instance so I can actually show this to you in action. And then, again, please feel free to put in your questions in the Q&A, and we will get to those questions as well. And we can also have discussions towards the end of the session. We will have some time for Q&A as well. So okay, so I am in my service operations instance now, and I'm going to go ahead and impersonate an ITIL user first. Now, this user is essentially, for the purpose of this demo, an agent who responds to incoming, uh, chats, emails, call, walk up, all of those channels of intake. And let's say that, a chat came in or an email or something came in, and based on that, they're going to go ahead and now create an incident. Of course, this can be done from directly from an interaction record as well. For the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to go ahead and directly create an incident here. So let's say that the issue that is being reported is that the Tableau service is not working. And so I'm going to go ahead and create an incident for this, just populate some of the required fields here. I'm going to say this is a high priority and high urgency incident. And because the service is Tableau, which is down, I'm going to populate the service field with Tableau as well. So let's say the user who's creating this incident populates all of this, and then now the incident is saved. Now, there are a couple of things that are going to kick in at the back end, and I want to show you some of these things before we go further with the incident. So we were talking about communication plans. So these are the
So,
communication plan. Mhm.
Sonia, 1 second. Sorry, there
Yeah.
is one chat coming in to share your screen. I'm not sure. I'm at least able to view the screen. Uh, is everyone able to view the screen? Sorry, just confirming.
Okay. Looks
Okay.
like, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
Sorry.
we'll
Yeah.
continue. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Ro. All right, so these are the communication plan definitions. Those of you who have seen the major incident management in the classic workbench are familiar with this. This is exactly the same, the way it works for Service Operations Workspace as well. So admins, major incident managers, communication managers have the ability to create these communication plan definitions. And essentially what this is it's a plan where the manager can say, based on certain conditions, I want a communication plan to get associated with an incident. So in this case, I go into this plan definition, and we've just given a name to this, Tableau end user communications. We have certain conditions that are specified, and we're saying this is on the incident table. So if an incident comes in with priority 1 and the major incident state is accepted and the service is Tableau, then I want these communication tasks to get associated with that incident. So here we've set up a few tasks. One is an email to Tableau end users, then there's another final email to Tableau end users. And then we have the ability to specify things like whether it is a recurring task, whether it's a one-time task. We can also specify the channels and the recipients. So in this case, of course, it's an email. And then the recipients, we've added a group, which is essentially a Tableau users group. So if you have specific assignment groups that are already defined, you could just add those groups as the recipients over here. We do support other channels as well. So if I go back and look at some of the other um, oh, I think I lost that. Okay, let me go back into my communication plan definitions. If I go back and look into some of these other plans, there are other channels that can be specified as well. So there is conference call that can be specified as a channel. Um, a Teams notification, SMS, email, all of those channels can be specified here as the channel through which the communication should be sent. And then again, for the recipients, we can define individual users, groups, we can create recipient lists, and these recipient lists can be created dynamically using a script, or it can be a simple, say, Excel file that gets uploaded and everyone in that Excel list gets added to the recipient list. And then we're just saying that those are Tableau subscribers, for example. So all of these parameters of the communication plan is defined or are defined in this communication plan definition. And when these conditions are met, these tasks will automatically start showing up for that incident. So I will show you that in the live demo, but I just wanted to give you this background of how we're actually setting this up. The other thing that we have set up here is the major incident trigger rules. So again, these are just simple rules where we have certain conditions specified. So for example, one of my conditions is when the configuration item or the service is Tableau and the priority is 1, I want to take certain action, and the action in this case is to propose a major incident. The action can also be to directly promote to major incidents, so that's supported as well. But typically, we see that most customers like to have a little bit of control here. First, propose it as a major incident, let the major incident manager come in, review it, and then propose it. But those options are there, and this is quite flexible in terms of the conditions that you can build out as well. So that is what we have set up at the back end. Um, and I just wanted to show you that. Now we can go back to the incident that was being created. All right. So this is the incident that we just created. Um, Now you can see that in the details, this got assigned to the major incident management assignment group. And the reason it got assigned to the major incident management group is again because we have set up the on-call escalation path in the backend. Again, tying back to what Nikhil was showing us earlier. Once we have this on-call escalation path set up, in this case, it is automatically being sort of rerouted or routed to the major incident management group here. And we have, because again of the on-call escalation paths that are set up, in this instance, we've set it up so that our primary for this is Andrew Morton, who is the major incident manager. And at this point, Andrew is going to get a Teams notification. So let me go into my other window where I have the Teams logged in. And I may need to reshare my screen for this. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so here I'm logged into Teams. I'm logged in as Andrew. And you see, this is the notification that Andrew just received for the incident that got escalated through the on-call escalation path that got escalated to the major incident manager group and specifically to Andrew. So here, as soon as Andrew says accept, what's going to happen is the incident is going to get assigned to Andrew. All right. So here you see the assign to, which was previously blank. Now it's gone to Andrew. This is all happening because we have the on-call escalation path set up. And then because we also had the trigger rules set up, which I showed you earlier, this major incident is already in proposed state. So now, from this point onwards, it's all up to Andrew to come in as a major incident manager, review the major incident or review the incident, decide whether it's a major incident, and then take it forward. So at this point, I'm going to impersonate Andrew and take over this incident as a major incident manager. Right. So from this list navigation, Andrew can view all major incidents. So we have a section here for major incidents. Andrew can view all major incidents. Andrew can view candidates for major incidents. So essentially, these are all the incidents that have been proposed as major incidents and then assigned to Andrew. The one that we just created and we were working on, that shows up under assigned because it did get assigned to Andrew again through that on-call escalation path. So now Andrew comes in, um, and then as a major incident manager, now Andrew is going to decide whether or not to promote this as a major incident. So Andrew sees that the impacted service is Tableau, and Andrew knows that this is a business critical service. Andrew may do a little bit of research and try to figure out what is the exact impact. And let's say Andrew just goes ahead and enters a business impact. Uh, this critical service impacting, let's say 300 users. And then at this point, Andrew is ready to promote this as a major incident. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you here is we do have major incident playbook on the side panel. It's accessible here on the side panel, also accessible as a separate playbook tab over here for a larger view. And this is something that we've put in out of the box with a generic major incident management process, as we understand from talking to a lot of customers. This is typically the process that is followed for a major incident. First, the situation needs to be reviewed, the impact needs to be assessed and added in, and then it can be promoted as a major incident. So Andrew can take those actions from here, and then of course, from here as well, from the overflow menu, these actions are available. So let's say Andrew decides to go ahead and promote it and says the reason is this is a critical service, and promote to major incident. Now, as soon as Andrew promotes this to a major incident, you can see the major incident state changes from proposed to accepted. Also on the playbook, we've moved on to the next step of the process. So we were in the first step earlier, which is review the situation, and now we've gone on to communicate. So all of the tasks that we set up as part of the communication plan definition that we saw earlier, now all of those tasks are available here as part of the major incident. And those tasks can be accessed from the playbook. In the side panel, we also have a dedicated tab to view those same tasks and take action on them. This is just a slightly larger view, so just depending on preference. But these are essentially the tasks that we had in our plan definitions, and these are the tasks that we see showing up over here as well. So on the communicate tab, we see any of the communications, sort of the one-way communications that need to be sent out. So email, SMS, any chat notifications, for example, would all show up under this communicate tab. So the task is here. Now, Andrew can go in here into email, say, for example, and this is the view that Andrew has for composing and sending the email. Now we have a lot of things that are pre-populated here already. Again, some of this is being pulled in from whatever was configured as part of the plan definition earlier. For example, the recipient list, the Tableau user group, if you remember, we had this as the recipients as part of the plan definition. Um, and then we have access to different email templates here. This is just standard platform capability. So we're leveraging the email template capability over here. So once a template has been selected, that template is pre-populated with some of the information pre-populated again as part of the template capability. Andrew is of course free to edit this, review this, and then send it out. So that is for email. Now, we have a similar experience for SMS as well. So this is one task where we have both email as well as SMS notifications set up as a channel. So we do support sending SMS as well, and we have an integration with Twilio to support that. All right, so those are the communications. The other thing that we have is collaboration. Um, so anything that was configured in the plan definition as a conference bridge, for example, would show up under the collaboration task. So this is how we kind of separate it. So communication is typically any one-way communication that needs to be sent out to users, the technical teams, business stakeholders, and so on. And collaborations are more of like the two-way collaborative communications, collaborations that need to happen through conference bridges. So we had two tasks for conferencing as part of our plan. And those two tasks show up here as pending. We also have a separate collaborate tab. Um, so this is the collaborate tab on the side panel. And this is where these conference bridges can actually be triggered. So we can start a Teams chat from here, but then when we go into calls, this is where I can actually start the conference call. And we support different bridges over here. So Teams chat, Teams conference calling, Zoom meeting, Twilio meeting, all of those different methods of conferencing and chat are supported. That's a little bit on collaboration and communication. Going back to the playbook, so let's say we've been sending out our communications, we've spun up our conference bridges, we have the right recipients on there, the right collaborators on the bridge, triaging, investigating. Um, we can also set up ad hoc communications and collaboration. So if something wasn't part of my original plan, but I do want to spin up a new communication, I can do that from here. So I have the options to either send out a communication right away or send it out later, and then I can configure the frequency, whether it's a one-time communication, recurring communication, when it's due, whether it's an email, SMS, or a Teams notification that I'd like to send out right away. All of that can be done from here. The recipients can also be managed. So we have sort of the preset recipient list that was configured as part of the initial plan definition, but let's say I need to modify some of these recipients. I don't necessarily need to go back into my pre-configured plan. I can do that from here as well. So for example, in this particular communication plan for notifying service owners for Tableau, I have these groups and one user here. I can add an additional user, add a group, remove, edit, all of that is possible from here as well. So let's say all of this has happened, the right people have come in, the incident is now triaged, and Andrew, as the major incident manager, is ready to resolve. Again, that can be done through the playbook over here. So we do have a resolve step. And then we do have this action available here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and resolve this. Now you can see we have Now Assist enabled here. So Now Assist is in action here, generating the resolution notes automatically. And of course, Andrew will be able to review and edit those resolution notes as needed. This instance is a little bit slow, so it's just going to take a few seconds to populate those resolution notes. And the other thing that you'll see is as soon as we resolve the major incident, you'll see a new post-incident review tab that shows up over here where we generate the post-incident report. And that shows up as soon as the incident gets resolved. So the resolution notes are populated here. So we've picked up the root cause and the resolution steps. So, whatever information was populated in the major incident, in the work notes, in the resolution notes, etc. From there, Now Assist has populated the resolution notes. So I'm just going to go ahead and resolve this now. Okay, so the incident is now resolved, and yeah, save it. Okay, and you can see we have the post-incident report tab that showed up over here, and the playbook also has moved on to the post-incident review step. We have sections of this that are already populated, the summary, impact, resolution, and so on. Of course, all of this can be edited. We have some of the critical timings related to how the major incident progressed. So how much time it took to identify, and by identify in this case, we mean propose this as a major incident, and then from the time that it got proposed to the time that it actually got accepted as a major incident, and then from then on, how much time it took to resolve the major incident. So those are some of the timestamps that we look at and populate over here. And then we have this main section over here. We also have a timeline. So we generate this timeline as part of the PIR, and some of the events here show up automatically. So what we have configured out of the box is any change in the state of the incident, created, proposed, accepted, resolved. Those are the events that will show up by default. Any additional events that need to be added can be done manually. So we can go here, say add event, and I can edit the timestamp. Let's say I'll just say 46 and incident reviewed, just as an example. Add that, and we can see that it got added to the timeline over here. Okay, the other way to add to the timeline is by going to the activity stream, and we can flag any of these um, events over here and have them show up on the timeline as well. So just gonna say, I'm gonna flag this. So event added to timeline. And that will show up over here on the timeline. Now, there was a question earlier on the chat where the timestamp of any flagged event showing up on the timeline is not the actual timestamp of when that event occurred on the activity stream. And that is something that we're fixing. So in the upcoming store release in May, you will see that that gets fixed, and you'll actually see um, the correct events showing up here with the correct timestamps. Okay, and then by default, we also create a problem record because typically the root cause analysis is done as part of problem records. So that's something that we create automatically. And that is something that shows up over here. Okay, so this is essentially the end-to-end life cycle. There are other actions available over here as well. For example, creating a change request, creating outage, all of the standard actions that are available as part of any incident are available here as well. Okay, I think we do have a little bit of time here, so I will try to show you quickly our AI agent studio, because we have just recently added a capability where an AI agent can be used to generate the post-incident report. So just to make that process even a little bit more streamlined than what it is right now. So I'm going to just show this to you from the AI agent studio, um, because in this instance, it's set up through the agent studio. Um, and so I'm going to select post incident report. Okay, I think I need to refresh this. And again, this might be a little slow and just a little bit choppy because it is quite fresh off the press. But I do want to show this to you as one of the latest capabilities that we're adding. Okay, so post-incident reviewer, that's our AI agent. And I'm going to pick up a previously resolved incident because we can create PIRs for resolved incidents. So let's say generate a post-incident review for, I'm going to start this. And so what this is going to do is it's going to trigger an AI agent that's going to go and look at all of the information in that particular incident and come up with a post-incident report. And then it's going to ask me for approval and say, can I go ahead and add this to the post-incident report? And I'm going to say, yes, go ahead. And then when we go to that incident, we'll see a nicely generated post-incident report. This does take a little bit of time. We can see that the agent is working on it. So there are a number of tasks and tools that it's utilizing at the back end. Okay, so maybe we want to come back to this while it's still, because it's going to take a few seconds to work on this. In the meantime, if there are any questions that are unanswered that I can answer, I can take those questions. So I'll quickly
There are
look
a
at
few,
the
Sonia,
Q&A.
in the Q&A. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just gonna quickly take a look at those questions. Okay, so question on the timeline that I for the PIR. Can we have it so that certain events will be automatically added to the timeline? Yes, this is something we're working on. We don't have a specific release date, but yeah, we are looking at making that configurable so that customers would be able to decide what events they would like added to the timeline by default. Okay, the intent or the use case for action taken. So essentially, this would be um, any specific actions that are taken to resolve the major incident, and then those actions taken can make it into the post-incident report. For example, it can make it onto the timeline. For example, we even have a section on the playbook where the major incident manager can review the actions taken. So those are all the uses for actions taken. Okay. So I'm just going to, I see the AI agent has come back with something. So it's asking me, please review the report and provide your feedback. Are there any changes or additions that you would like to see? So it has generated something for me here. Um, so I can review it. I can say I want to change it, or I can say um, it's fine, just go ahead with it. So I can just say approved, and hopefully that should move it forward. Okay. Just going back to the Q&A while the agent is working on this again, where can we find more information on collaborate, that is setting of teams, conference bridges to resolve an issue? Um, so, Saurabh, I just want to clarify the question. Okay, so Nikhil is saying he can provide more details on collaboration, but yeah, essentially you can set up those collaboration bridges as part of a communication plan. You can spin up multiple bridges from the incident itself using the side panel, the collaborate side panel. I don't know if that helps, but yeah, we can certainly help you with any more details you need over there. Okay. Okay, what other questions are there? Okay, I see Nikhil is already answering some of the questions.
Sonia, feel free to
Okay.
answer. Yeah.
Okay, so now the agent has come back and said that we've added the post-incident report to this incident. So let me try and go back to this incident, and we should be able to see the post-incident report over there. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my list of incidents. Okay, okay, so it looks like we're late in publishing the post-incident report. We can do that from here. We can mark it as published. But yeah, this is essentially what the agent has generated. So you can see this is a Now Assist generated post-incident report summary. Um, and this is what has been populated by the AI agent. Yeah, and all of this information has been pulled from the details that would have been made available, let's say from the work notes, from the description, the short description, and so on and so forth. Um, Now, I just want to point out that in this environment, because this was a test environment still, it seemed like a little bit slow, but in a production environment, hopefully the performance will be a lot better. I mainly wanted to show this just to highlight the fact that we are working on AI agents to automate and streamline at different touch points within the life cycle of a major incident. So the first thing that we've done is an AI agent for creating the post-incident report. We also are working on AI agents that will hopefully come out towards the end of this year, early next year, on streamlining communications, pulling information from the different collaboration channels that are going on, impact assessment. So those are some of the areas that we're looking to leverage Gen AI and agentic AI going forward on the roadmap. All right, so since this is still unpublished, I can go ahead and mark this as published. And essentially what that does is just changes all of these sections from editable to non-editable. I can go into preview where I will be able to download this as a PDF. So I can download this as a PDF from here. Um, and if I want to go back and make changes, I can simply click on unpublish and then I'll be able to edit this again. Okay. Um, I think that is all I had in terms of the demo. We can go back to Q&A. Nikhil, if there's anything else that you'd like to share, we can go back to that as well.
No, I think let's answer first the questions that are posted here. I think it's majorly on major incident. Could you please answer them live, maybe, and marking
Yeah,
as well?
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so are there any plans to add functionality for IAM to create his own post-incident report template to include, for example, more details or change the layout? Um, so we don't support templates as of now. The idea was that the entire section of the post-incident report is um, editable. So you'd be able to edit whichever sections. Um, One of the things that we did have was to configure the sections, make that configurable. So the sections that we have out of the box, let's say you wanted to add a section on actions taken or findings, for example, you'd be able to configure the post-incident report to add that section. That is something that we're considering for the roadmap as well. So I hope that helps. Okay. Another question regarding recipient list contains users from user table, but users from contact table are skipped. This is on Xanadu. Has anything changed in Yokohama? Mm. I am not sure about this one. Pratyusha, Shivaji, do you
Yeah,
have any
yeah,
knowledge on this?
recipients list in MIM only support sys users right now. The reason being like ITSM is for employees and yeah, within employees. So we are restricting users with external contacts actually. It's not changed yet.
Okay. So as of now, we're only looking at sys users.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, what else? And for any of these things, if you feel like you would like to go into more detail, feel free to get in touch with us after the webinar, where we can go into more details. If you have specific use cases that you feel are not being adequately covered, we definitely like to understand more, um, and see how we can support you best.
We can also have members ask questions live. You can just raise hand and we'll
Yeah.
enable the talking for you, so we can discuss directly.
Does it create problem record? Yes. Currently, from the major incident, we do automatically create a problem record and link it to the major incident. So that is supported. All right. Just looking to see if there are any raised hands that we need to unmute. Okay, I don't see any raised hands. But yeah, please feel free if you'd like to go off mute, you can raise your hand and we can unmute you to ask your question. Otherwise, we're just looking through the Q&A panel here. Okay, question on is now, does now assist relate the major incidents if there's known error possibly related to it? So we do have a similarity algorithm that runs, and so we have that currently on incidents, where if an incident comes in, this algorithm running at the back end will check if there are other similar incidents going on, and come up with some kind of a recommendation in the recommendation side panel to say either things like, there are multiple incidents going on of a similar nature, and propose this as a major incident, or there's another incident of a similar nature, do you want to attach this as a child incident to the ongoing incident? um, there could be ongoing problem records to which the incident could be attached. So we do have a similarity algorithm that's running, and anytime an incident comes in, it will recommend, and you'll see those recommended actions on the side panel. Is the PIR stored in a KB for later to be consulted? We don't, move the PIR over into a KB, because the post-incident report could have multiple other things that may not belong in a knowledge article. But we do have the ability to create a knowledge article directly from the incident. And again, there is a Now Assist skill to create knowledge articles, which really streamlines the process and can pull information from the incident and so on and so forth. So there is a Now Assist skill that can help with that. Uh, but the PIR is not something that we directly pull into a knowledge article. There's also the ability to report a knowledge gap, and then the concerned owner can go in and create a knowledge article. Okay, just looking through the Q&A to see if we missed something.
So if you have answered, please mark them as answer live. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing that.
shows quite a few are open. That question from Manoj is unclear, at least I don't know. Environment level of
Environment
access.
level of access, dates you're requesting access. Yeah, I'm not sure. Manoj, if you could kindly give us a little bit more information around your question, that would help. Okay. In the meantime, I'm looking at the question from Yashraj. How can we leverage for MIM when there are multiple services which are impacted? Yeah, so Tableau is impacted, other applications are impacted due to same issues. Communication, collaboration can be merged. Is there a parent-child concept which could be used here? Yes. Um, so if there are multiple incidents going on, which are all sort of interrelated, yes, there can be one major incident, and we can have multiple impacted services and multiple impacted CIs associated with one incident or one major incident. And those would all show up in the even on the overview section, we have a section where we would show the multiple impacted services. We have the related records where we have the sections for impacted services, impacted CIs, and so on, where those could show up. And the parent-child relationship can definitely be created. So there can be one parent incident, which could be the major incident, and all of the related child incidents could have different impacted services marked on them, but they could all become children of the same parent major incident. The communication and collaboration. So it is not merged, as in if you send out an email from a child incident, it's not going to directly show up as an email that got sent from the major incident. However, items that are sent out from the work notes, and there's a part of the work notes that are visible to the end users. If that is populated, then that does get trickled down through the child incidents as well. So the callers or the requesters of the child incident would be able to see those communications that are sent out through the customer visible work notes. Other actions that are taken on the parent incident could also trickle down to the child incident. For example, if the parent incident gets resolved, the child incident will also get resolved. And then the resolution notes would get populated, and then any notifications that are required to be sent out as part of resolution would be sent out with the child incident notifications as well. So we do have some linkages between the communications that are sent out, but not for all of the communication tasks that you were seeing on the major incident. Okay, impacted, bring in the impacted services from child incident to PIR. Um, that's a good question. I don't have an answer for that right away. I don't know, Pratyusha, Shivaji, do you have a better response to that? Can we bring in impacted services from child incident to the PIR? I think that that might be something that we have to look into, whether it's feasible and whether that's something that we want to include on the roadmap. But thank you for that feedback. We can
Right.
definitely
Have to
consider it.
once evaluate the performance aspect as well. Maybe we can
Yeah.
do it.
Okay. Okay. Shivaji, I see you're typing an answer. And once you're done with that, we can mark
Yeah.
that question as answered as well.
So now you want to launch the poll, second poll.
Yes, we do have one more poll. Thank you.
So team, if there are any questions, feel free to raise your hands, or I think we have answered most of the questions in the Q&A section. Yeah, we can have the second poll launched. I think there is one more question that has come up. Please do respond to the poll, everyone. Appreciate.
Okay, I see 60% of our participants have answered the poll. Yeah, would love to hear from more of you here. How likely are you to adopt or mature your use of Service Operations Workspace? Yes, you're definitely gonna adopt and mature your use of SOW, or you're not planning to, or you're just unsure at this point. But would love to hear from you either ways.
Yashraj, to your question on the AI integration, could you please elaborate more? I can unmute you. You can speak. Yeah, sure. You can talk a little bit about the question you had on the Slack communication. You would be able to speak.
Like currently what we have is like the Slack is mostly used for communication part between the teams, like collaboration part. So like for example, if something is mentioned there, which is not updated in the work notes, and if we would like to get it on the like the PIR or maybe as a timeline. So is that possible? Like if we mention something like Slack thread or Slack channel details, does the AI reach to Slack and check the details, or like how does that work?
We do have a mechanism to import chats into work notes. Let me, so Slack is something that is coming up in the Z release through sidebar. Let me double check and get back to you in terms of whether we can import the chats into work notes or not. There is a provision, but let me still double check and confirm on that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your responses, everyone. Happy to see that majority of you do plan to use SOW more. And please let us know how we can support you in that journey. Right. We do have a lot of resources available for you, so please feel free to refer to these configuration guides. We have boot camps for implementation, workshops, documentation, and definitely a lot of the resources, the recordings from sessions like this one available on our community site, FAQs, and regularly when questions get asked on the community site, we do go in there and try to answer questions. So please feel free to go in there, ask your questions, access the resources that are available. We also have resources like the ServiceNow Impact. We have trainings and certifications and expert services, and you can leverage these resources as well. We do have a product lab, so please feel free to go in there and opt into the program. All right, and I think that's all we had for today.
There are
Any
two
final thoughts?
unanswered questions. I think we can.
Oh, there are.
explain.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so one is from Manoj. Schedule something around how impacted services related list is configured across IPC. Okay, so this is more about configuring the related lists. Yeah, I think that is something that we can help you with offline, Manoj. Um, I don't know that we have the configuration information readily available. And then the next question is, does it give a report on the number of child incidents attached to the major incident and the customer department? Can these details go into the PIR? So currently, you would be able to see the child incidents as part of the related lists. You would be able to see the child incidents. We don't currently bring this information into the PIR, but again, that is something that we're considering as part of the enhancement to the PIR. And when you say customer department, I'm not sure if you mean an integration with the CSM tools, and if there are any sort of related cases associated with the major incident. Again, this is not something that we pull directly into the PIR right now. I think the main concern here would be performance, because there could be potentially hundreds of child incidents, hundreds of cases that are associated with this. But again, that's something that we're considering as an enhancement on our roadmap. And if it's feasible in terms of performance, that's something that we can definitely introduce going forward. Thank you for the feedback. This is good input. Okay.
All right,
I think that brings us to the end of this session. Yeah, Nikhil, did you have any final comments?
I think that is all. Thank you so much for making this an interactive session. It was great, and looking forward to all of you adopting Service Operations Workspace. Please reach out to us directly over our emails. We will be able to help you in case of any challenges.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you all.
everyone.
All your
Have a
feedback
good
is
day.
very valuable. Thank you.